Welcome to Seeing with Your Soul, the podcast aimed to inspire you to find your voice and become the best, truest, and most authentic version of yourself. Spiritually intimate, soul-to-soul conversations, life-changing insights, and spiritual teaching and healing. Real, raw, unfiltered. Join your host, Tisha Michelle.
Welcome and welcome back to another episode of Seeing with Your Soul with me, Tisha Michelle, your host. All right, so in this present moment, I definitely would say that I am grateful for choice. And with that ability to choose, I choose peace. And I don't know if you just ever been in like that place where you feel like I should be doing this because I'm good at it, or it's what's expected of me. But when you get into that place and you remember that you always have a choice, and yes, some choices come with different consequences, right? But you still have the power of choice, and you choose peace, whatever that looks like in what area in your life that's in. It's an amazing and a beautiful space to be in. And I know for me, choosing peace is, saying no to some things that I would have normally done because I'm so good at it. And, it's helped so many people. And I love that. And I love that I can use, certain things to help people and to serve. But it's something about saying no just because maybe it's not bringing you joy. Or maybe you're just tired and you want to honor yourself and you want to, practice self-care. And self-care is saying no and choosing peace and just waking up and just feeling good. Yeah, I'm just definitely going to say that I'm grateful for choice, and I'm grateful that I chose peace. So your turn. And if you're driving, go on and bypass this part. So I need you guys to go ahead and close your eyes. And let's take a nice deep breath. And we're just going to breathe in through your nose. And just let it out through your mouth. All right, let's do another nice deep breath. And just breathe in through your nose. And out through your mouth. All right, let's just do one more. Another nice deep breath. Just breathing in through your nose. And letting it out through your mouth. Yes, 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 yes. Feels good, right? All right. So what are you guys grateful for? Put me on pause and do a little bit of journaling or a little bit of reflecting. Say it out loud, say it in your head, or whatever feels good. Just express that. Just express that gratitude. And I hope every one of you listening that you choose peace too, right? If you're going through something, right? And, you're struggling or you're lacking clarity, just not feeling well, or you're just going through like a confrontation or decisions or whatever, just choose peace. We're not saying what that actually looks like, but just put both your hands over your heart and just say, I choose peace in this situation, or I choose peace in my life, and let that peace in, allow it in. Promise me. You'll thank me. All right. So have you been feeling like just disconnected lately? And when I say disconnected, it could be disconnected from like yourself, disconnected from God, disconnected from like higher power, disconnected just from what feels good and what sets your soul on fire. Like just feel like, ugh, like blah. I have, in the time of this recording, it's been like maybe like 3 or 4 days where I've just been feeling a little off, right? And since 2018, since, Gloria died the end of 2017, and 2018 really having that awakening and really that personal development and just starting to be more in tune with myself, because I was not. Like, so now when things are off, like I feel it. It's not about me questioning in my head, like, is this me bugging? Am I tripping? Like, nah, I know when something is off because I've been learning and spending so much time with myself that I know when shit is something ain't right. So I was talking to my friend And we were reflecting back to 2018 and how powerful that year was. So 2018 was glorious. My best friend, it was her funeral. I had that first session with a medium, which literally is why I'm here having this podcast and talking to you guys with, on Seeing with Your Soul. It opened up a lot to me. I sold my business that I had for a couple of years. I went to Egypt. I remember my purpose. And while I was learning and healing and evolving, I was guiding people along the way. And something I used to always say then in 2018, I'd just be like, yo, I just feel like I'm just skateboarding through life. And they'd be like, oh, like, how you feeling? I'd be like, I feel good. I just feel like I'm skateboarding through life. And I had never gotten on a skateboard before. Okay, I'm capping. I probably have gotten on a skateboard and just stood there, maybe took a picture and looked cute, but like actually try to ride. No. But I felt like I was just skateboarding through life. So I would just say that. I'd be like, yo, it's like, I'm just skateboarding through life. And, and I was just living in awe. And I've been noticing that I just miss that feeling and something is disconnected. So even though I was going through this deep pain, and I, with my best friend dying, seeing life from another perspective and seeing that there was more to life than this. And this was for me just existing, right? Surviving and just existing. And like the grass. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you've heard me share this where I say like, it was just like the grass was green, the sky was bluer. And as cliche as that sound, it was so true. I was so in awe of life and everything. And I was so curious. And I was just like, oh, I just got a sign. There was just a message. Oh my God. Like I keep seeing the same number. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at that. And I was just in such awe. And when I was talking to her and she was saying, she was saying the same thing. And I was just like, and she was recapping things that, the first and like major transformations for her in 2018. And I was like, I miss that. I feel real disconnected from source. I feel just disconnected. And now, even though I'm moving forward in life, existing at times, surviving, sometimes in flow, I just don't really feel that awe in that. So I was explaining that to her and then she was explaining it to me in her words, but I was like, shit, we both feeling the same way, right? And I remember when I was working with this client one day and it was shown to me. When I say it was shown to me, so when I have all the clairs, so I see things, I feel things, I hear things, and sometimes I just fucking know. Like, I don't know. I just know. And I don't know what I know until like I know. So it was shown to me with this client that it was like her soul was on the outside of her body and that there was a disconnect, right? And I remember saying to her, I was like, it's like, the way they're showing it to me, it's like your soul is on the outside. It's like, what's up? We need to be merged. We need to be one. And lately I've been feeling like what was shown to me about another client, just disconnected. And I don't like that shit. I don't like that at all. And that same friend that I was talking to, she said, she was explaining the same thing with her, where it was just like, yeah, she was super excited about talking about her spirit guides and her angels and like, oh my God, this happened. And then now when she's talking to people, she's like, yeah, I believe in that. Yeah. And she was like, she's not sure if it's like taking it for granted or just getting complacent. And I agreed. It was like that and all. So it was like, and I work with my clients, all the time. I'm working with clients for the most part, almost on a daily basis. No, capping again. Mondays and Wednesdays, I don't work with people unless I squeeze somebody in. But, for the most part, I have, quite a few people on a weekly basis and I'm always channeling and connecting, but it's like, boom, I get in and get out. Right. And I just don't feel that that connection. Now, some of you listening, you might be able to relate to me, but it might not be about, with that connected to your spirit guides. So it's like you just feel disconnected. You just feel like, ugh. You might even feel like blah, like, I don't know, I really can't like explain it, in that sense. So I was telling her that the major changes in my life were forced. And what I mean by that, like, Gloria died and it helped to, for me to remember my purpose and like awaken. And I was forced to go within because that pain was so deep and it was just there. And it was like, yo, I'm fucking questioning everything and everybody. Like, cause this shit don't make any sense. So you got to make this make sense, because logically, none of this shit makes sense. So I was forced to get these answers to this question that I was, asked, which then transformed so many things. When I started my business, the home care agency, I kind of was really forced in a sense. And I was forced because my ego stepped up. Like, what you mean this idea is not a good idea? Okay, let me prove your ass wrong. Right. So I felt like I was forced then. And then I was working my business, but still working the job. And then, I ended up dropping down to part-time with the job because they were like, no, it was giving me this sweet ass gig. And I'm like, how can I turn that away? They're basically like, yo, we fucking need you. Like, you can work your business, do your thing. We don't even care about that. Just at least give us this amount of hours and make sure this da da da. And I was like, it was okay. But then they started like getting on my nerves. And if you ever, y'all, you work the job and like you already like over it and shit. So anything that anybody say or do, you're like, I swear to God, man, I'm about to quit this bitch. So I was just like, yo, I'm losing money from my business to work at this company and they tripping. Fuck that shit. So boom, was like, yo, I'm done. Here's my 2 weeks, here's my 2 week notice, and I quit. So it was like there were things that was like forcing me, right? And then, coming into like the business, and then that was starting the business. And then when it was time to like sell the business because I was burnt out, it was like I was just being forced. But everything that I felt like I was being pushed and forced to do was like a major part in my life, even when I picked up and moved to Arizona. When I say I was pushed and I was forced, it was because that feeling was just like, yo, you gotta go. You gotta go. This is what you need to do, even though I didn't know why and what was gonna unfold, but I was just really being pushed. So I was telling her about the major things in my life that I was just, felt like I was just forced or pushed to do through the universe. And now I feel that same way, that there's this transformation that is happening within me, but I'm not being forced and I'm not being pushed. And it's really for me to make the conscious decision. And I was like, and this is where I feel like I'm disconnected. Right. So even like, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, but it's been in real estate. And normally I listen to them, I got my go-tos for personal development or, spirituality. And I would get ready to go and listen to one. And I'm like, nah, I'm not in that type of mood. Let me go listen to this. Let me go listen to this practical stuff. And I was like, Then I was like, I haven't done like a pick a card in a long time. You've been listening to me or me, I got almost 100 decks. I probably even got 100 decks because I think I've been saying almost 100 for a very long time. So, and I would list, there's like 3 solid people on YouTube that I do pick a cards for myself because they're good. And like I'm in tune with their energy. So the card that I pick 100% lines up and it resonates, like not even trying to force it. And I haven't done a pick a card in probably like 3-4 months. And that's definitely not like me. And then I just did one last night and I was like, you know what? I think I need to do a pick a card, right? And I just noticed that I've been kind of pulling back. And I'm like, I feel that there's this transformation. I'm not really feeling connected. I'm feeling disconnected. Now I'm connecting again for other people, but I'm not connected. I don't feel connected for myself. And feeling like I'm in this place where this transformation is another level up that I'm heading to, and knowing that I'm resisting in that area of like my spirituality, my connection. I'm like, fuck, what's up? What's going on? And then I'm sitting here and I'm really like thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, that's because I'm getting ready to go to another level of my spirituality with my gifts and with my connections. But there's a part of me that's resisting that, right? There's a part of me that's resisting that. So I wanted to share just a couple of things that I do when I am feeling that disconnect in that sense. But what I've just did now. So one, I asked Spirit to remind me when I felt that awe. So something that you can do is just ask Spirit, God, universe, your higher self to remind you when you felt that awe, like recreate that feeling, right? Well, when is it? So if I say, okay, when did I feel like that? Oh, when was those times in my life? What was I doing? Where was I at? Who was I with? Shit, what was I wearing? So I know it was 2018 when I felt like my life was turned upside down, but it was actually turned right side up, right? And you could even ask people the closest to you and say, when do you remember, when do you remember me being in like a place of joy or just being super happy? I remember when I started dating my son's dad back in, I don't even know. It was a long time ago. I don't know what year, but I remember my cousin saying to him, was like, we were like all together. He was like, what you do to my cuz? And we like, what? He was like, yo, she don't have no attitude no more. Like, she like happy. Like, what you do to her? And I was like, should I be like offended? Like, how was I before? Like, but that was somebody that's my cousin, and he was saying he's seen this difference in me. He's seen how I was, right? And how I was before, and then how I was being in that, that relationship. Then one time me and my son's dad, this was definitely like in the beginning of when we were together, when we were dating or whatever, and we went to the mall. And we were in the mall and we were just being like silly. And there was this guy at the jewelry shop that worked there. Like, he said to me, he was just like, yo, he literally said, yo, he was like, I bet y'all really have a lot of fun together. He was like, I can just tell y'all have a lot of fun together. And it was just the energy that we were putting off, So I definitely, suggest asking people that are around you to say, like, when you remember me seeing me laughing, or I was like happy, or I was in my flow, I was in my element, or whatnot. So ask the people around you, and then again, what we're asking spirit, God, universe to remind you is to drop that memory. So when you put it out there and say, like, spirit, I'm feeling really, or God, I'm feeling really disconnected. I'm just not feeling like myself. It's like a part of me feels like something is missing, or I'm seeking something and I really don't even know how to articulate it within. Like, but remind me of when I felt good. Remind me of when I felt myself. Remind me of when I was in awe. Like, what was that? And allow the memories to just pop in your head. Or you may be talking to someone and they say, like, oh my God, do you remember when da 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 da? And you're like, oh my God, and you're laughing and you just start to feel so good. Like, recreate that feeling. Recreate that feeling and then go back and do that again. Right? Do that again, where you say, Spirit, God, send me more of that feeling. Send me more of being in awe, being curious. That was something that I was. In 2018, I was hella curious. I went talking about going down the rabbit hole. Yo, I didn't even want to run my business. And I mean, I had people working for me in the office at that point. Like, I didn't want to do anything. The only thing I wanted to do was just study spirituality. I wanted to learn more about this mediumship. I wanted to learn more about being, clairvoyant. I wanted to learn more about the chakras. Like, what? We have chakras, right? So it's like, I wanted to know, I just was like so curious, and I just wanted to know more, and I wanted to see what I could see and how many more signs I was getting and how I can just state this and put this out there. And then all of a sudden, like, I get an answer back, or, it was just so much awe, so much awe. So when you're feeling like disconnected and you want to feel like that again, but you don't even really know when or what that was, ask the people around you, talk to God and just say, yo, remind me of that. Another thing is, I had to step away from everything and everyone so I could hear myself. And again, if you've been listening to me for a while, you'll hear me that I always talk about, being still and disconnect in order to reconnect, right? So it's like you want to step away from everything and clear out the noise, drown all those things out just so you can hear yourself. So you can hear yourself. So what do I feel disconnected from? What is it that I feel disconnected from? I know, some people, and I've had some just recently even in conversation where they feel disconnected from everything. They feel disconnected. I had someone say they felt disconnected from their friends. Right. I had someone who said that, he was a guy, actually. He said he felt very disconnected from his wife. And sometimes we think that those are the things that we're being like disconnected, which can be true. But when we have so much noise and stuff like around, we don't really know what is what. So I highly suggest that you step away from everything and everyone just so you can hear yourself. You owe yourself that. You deserve it. So the third thing I would say and these again are things that I've just recently done and I've done before, get a Reiki session. And if you don't know what Reiki is a form of energy healing. It is where the practitioner will place their hands over you. They do not touch you. And it's kind of like that, the channeling, but they're moving the energy that's through your body, right? And depending on the person, some will be like intuitive. They'll tell you things that they're picking up, or you're guided. Cause I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So you're guided to, sometimes they'll spend more time over a certain particular area, in your body. But when you get that Reiki session, ask them to also clear your chakras if you typically it will, but you can say, hey, heavy on the chakra clearing. And what are your chakras? We have a lot of chakras throughout our body, but we have our 7 main chakras and they're energy points. And those energy points can get blocked and full of gook. I like to call it like gook, and they need to be cleared. So we can have a lot of stuck and stagnant energy like that's being held and stored within our bodies, right? So when we're feeling disconnected, like there's somewhere, that maybe if you're feeling disconnected, and you're feeling, particular, pains in a certain part of your body, that chakra area might be full, blocked. For me, I've been having a lot of stuff with my crown chakra, and it's like it's open. It's open. So it's not even blocked, but it's open. And there was that battle of me resisting that connection to source, where I'm just, I'm flowing and I'm channeling, I'm the conduit, and I'm getting these different downloads, whether it's for other people or for myself. And this, like, it's open, but then there's been that logical part that's been sticking in. And then I'm like, okay, so this is where like this disconnect is. So I was like, yeah, it's time for a Reiki session. I got to go get a Reiki, and I need somebody to move this energy throughout and clear anything that may be blocked. So I don't even know what number I'm on, if I'm even numbering this. So the next thing was, I definitely say analyze your life. Like, what areas do you feel bring you like the least joy? Like, why haven't you made any changes? I mean, is there a resistance? Just get honest. Really get honest, like, with yourself. I mean, I had to do that too. And like I said, these are things that I've done before, but just recently had to do. But I had to analyze my life and say, what brings me like the least joy, and why is that? Has it served this purpose? I've been doing this for so long. Oh my God, that was so weird. I got the sharpest pain on my shoulder blade on the right side. So I don't know what that was all about. So anywho, yeah, so it's like analyzing, your life and really, really keeping it 100 with yourself. Like, this is just you and God and your spirit guides. It's the universe, whatever, rocking out. Like, what's up? Let's have this genuine conversation. Like, what areas in my life bring me the least joy? And I know it might be something that, people expect of you, or you should do, or you're great at and stuff, but is it not bringing you any joy? Okay, so what can we do? Like, why haven't you made any changes? Like, what's that about? Right? So the thing is like, remembering that, having that level of awareness, like with awareness comes change, and with change comes growth. So once we're aware and we're like, yo, this thing is not bringing me joy anymore. Can I recreate the joy in there? Is there a step that I took out that I need to put back in? Or is it something that I just need to just say, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm only doing this because of such and such. My daughter told me, she had a new job, and, not even just a new job, her first job. And she said that there was a kid there that plays football, and he says that he only does the football for his mom, just because she's like, cause it's because of my mom. It's the only reason why I'm just playing football, because of my mom. But he's a senior. So he's getting ready to go to college, and he's not necessarily like excited about it because he doesn't want to play, basketball. And he's like, basketball, football. He's like, and I have practice, and I have to do this, and I have to do that. And it's only because my mom wants there. So like, is there something in your life that you're doing, and you're doing it because someone else wants you to do it, or someone expects you to do it? And if so, it's time to really analyze and reevaluate that and make some changes. Like, it's just time to put yourself first. right? Put yourself first. So it's like awareness is super huge. It's just a big thing just to be able to be aware because, there's people that are on detours and they have no idea. And because they're not aware, they can't make a change because what do they need to make a change about? They're not even aware that something's off with them, right? So it's just really just like about remembering that it's more to life than just existing and knowing that you deserve to be in a place of awe. Like you deserve to be, joyful, and you deserve to do the things that light you up. Like, why not? Like I deserve them. You deserve them. I need to give myself back that level of just awe and that curiosity, wanting to know like more, right? So it's like you get to this point, like you're here, and then you just, like my friend was saying, like you just get complacent. And it's like, man, there's another thing. We got to keep on growing. We got to keep on growing and, getting things back to like yourself. What is that? I had a session with a new person today, and she said something, and I said, well, what are those things? And she just started telling me all these things that her heart's desire. And every single thing that she said, and like I told her, I said, you deserve that. You deserve that. You deserve all the feel goods. You deserve all the knowledge and that curiosity and that awe. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved, right? Just like each and every one of you. So, it's been some little wonky energy in the air for sure. I've been getting a lot of people coming with kind of like a reoccurring theme. And a lot of it goes back to that level of, doing things because it's what you know and it's what you were taught and it's what you just were seeing. So you just think that that's just the way the life is, and you just do it and you don't question it. You don't make any changes. So I said, kind of like a theme. So I said, okay, Spirit, I'm getting these literally four people within 2 weeks with basically the same underlying thing. So it's always for me, I analyze and I said, is this for me? Is this something that's being reflected within myself on these people? And I need to go within, or is it something that needs to be talked about on the podcast, or it could just be both, right? So the thing is, I'm very much aware, and it took a lot of work to get here. So I'm aware of these things, right? So made me think about when I was listening to this podcast and he was giving this story. And I don't know if he was just giving like an example or if it was actually a story for real. But it was with this young girl. And I think I want to say the story when it was Thanksgiving and they were making like the ham, and she put the ham in a pan and she cut off, the front, cut off a piece on the front, and then she cut off a piece on the back and put it in the oven. Then she went to her mother and she said, why do we do that? Like, why do we cut off the front and why do we cut off the back? And the mother was like, I don't know. You got to ask your grandmother. That's something that your grandmother did. So I just did it and it passed on. So then she called her grandmother and she said, why do we cut off the front and why do we cut off the back? And she's like, oh, because when I went to make it, it was too big and it didn't fit in the pan. What? We are generation after generation repeating and doing things because someone else did it, and we never actually questioned and asked why. Why do we do this? So what ends up happening with us is that we've seen something or we've done something from a family member and we just continue to just do it. We continue to do, or if like you were taught to put everybody before you and then you eat last or you do these things last. So because, well, that's how my mom did it and that's how our mother did it. Like, okay, but is that serving you now? Or is that leaving you feeling disconnected? Because you want to serve, right? I just want to serve and I just want to help people. And I love helping people and being there. Okay, but what about you? What you doing for yourself? You pouring into everybody else, but now you're feeling disconnected and you lacking the joy and the awe, but you're there helping everyone else. Oh my God, I'm over here talking to myself. Look at that. Well, hopefully you guys get what it is that, what I'm saying in there. And it's like this girl's copy from generation, from the grandmother to the mother to her. And then finally she says, why do we do this? And it was nothing magical or nothing about it. Just shit just didn't fit in the pan. So then everybody else just copied and just did that. And then you get to this point where you're so confused of like, why am I doing these things? I don't like them, but I'm supposed to do it. Nah, no, you're not supposed to do nothing. Those are all beliefs, right? So connect back to yourself, connect back to your higher power, connect back to what brings you joy, connect to what brings you happiness, like that fulfillment, like what makes you feel fucking good. Like, what makes you feel like yourself? What makes you feel love? What makes you feel magical? I know personally that I am on a mission to feel that awe in life that I felt in 2018. And I hope you guys connect back to yourself, connect back to your higher power, and that you guys can rekindle that awe in your life as well. Until next time, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Seeing with Your Soul. If something you heard resonated with you, feel free to rate, review, and share with others. If you are looking to go deeper, you can connect with Tisha Michelle on Instagram at Mindset Slayer or visit www.healingalignedglow.com.